Welcome to the Soul Script podcast. Here we explore how to unlock the power of our story. Our journey here on earth can be one of deep passion, intentional creation, and personal transformation. The only thing holding us back is our stories. Come and join me as we rewrite and reignite. Hello and good morning. Actually, you could be listening to this in the afternoon or the evening as well. So I guess I shouldn't say good morning or happy Monday because this could be experienced at any time or place. So happy whatever time it is and happy whatever day it is. I'm so excited that you came back and that you decided to dive into a little bit of intuition, such an immensely huge subject and incredibly foundational for being a powerful creator, for being able to move through things and rewrite your story. This episode is where you're going to get really concrete things, concrete action steps where you can put them into place and powerfully rewrite your story. On our previous episode, we talked about the definition of intuition, how it is available to everyone, how it shows up in a myriad of ways through all kinds of cultures, religions, beliefs. It is here, it is accessible to us. And then I also shared a personal story of a time that intuition showed up very powerfully for me and really left an impact on me on the power of intuition. So if you missed that, go back to it, start there, and then come back to here. This is going to be very action-oriented, where we're going to just really break down intuition, how to use it, what stops you from being able to use it, ways that you can cultivate it. I'm excited. To start off this episode, we're going to do a little bit of an exercise that you can do wherever you are. You're just going to start with a big, deep breath. And I know that that sounds cliche and blah, 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 but just do it. Just take a really big inhale, hold it for a moment, and exhale. Let's do it together. We're going to go in. And just release it. And the reason why a lot of meditations are centered around breath and why I ask you to take that big deep breath in and out, because it brings you to the present. It brings you here into your body. It brings awareness to where you're at. We're going to continue along with this awareness. As you continue taking nice deep breaths, I want you to think about your body. What does your body feel like? Are you sick to your stomach? Does your head hurt? Does your back ache? Is your skin dry? Or are you actually feeling really hydrated and energized? Just sit there and think about and observe your body, your physical self. Now we're going to move on to our spirit selves, or our emotional being and our mental being. Bring your awareness to how you're feeling today. Are you full of emotions? Are you tender? Are you angry? Are you feeling anxious or depressed? Pay attention to the thoughts that come into your mind and just notice them. Just observe them. And the last part of this exercise, we're going to take it even a step back. And I just want you to bring awareness to your environment. What does the room look like that you're in? Do you like the color of the walls? Is your car noisy? Can you hear birds chirping? Or is there trash along the highway? Whatever it is, just pay attention to it. Congratulations. You just took the very first step to cultivating powerful intuition inside of yourself. Awareness is going to be your number one friend when it comes to intuition. Without awareness, we cannot receive information. And we receive information and use our intuition through those three main things: our body, our physical selves, our emotional, mental selves, and then our environment around us. And when you can have an awareness of those things, then you can cultivate your intuition, which is really, really powerful and beautiful. And I'm so excited. If you can figure out intuition, you will be able to create so powerfully, you guys. And that is, I think, our goal here, is to be powerful creators, to write our stories how we want to write them. So we know step one, if we were to bullet point this and put a number sequence to it, step one of intuition is awareness. Now, this is sometimes way easier said than done. We have trained ourselves to be anywhere but here. We're either thinking of the past, or we're thinking of the future, or we're absorbed in a social media world or within a book or something. We hardly ever are alone with ourselves long enough to even be aware of our body or our mind, how we're feeling, and even our environment. How is the person next to me in line acting? What's their body language like? We have our phones up in our faces, so we don't even see around us. So, like I said, this can be harder said than done, but it absolutely is possible. It just takes practice. And sometimes this practice can be really difficult, and it can be really hard to set new habits in place. So use patience and kindness and love with yourself, and just recognize that you're going to take it one step at a time. I want to go back to the body. And this is something that I call body talk. Okay, so we can receive information through our body. We can really separate this into two ways: physical type body talk or a sensational type body talk. The physical shows up like an actual physical ailment sometimes, like I have a headache or my back hurts or I'm going to throw up. The sensational one is just what it sounds like, a sensation in your body. I have this lifting in my chest. I have pleasure. I have a sinking in my body, a heaviness. This is sensational body talk. And these are good ways to be able to receive information. The thing about it is that not everybody is really in tune with their body, and some people don't receive through body talk as easily as others. And this could be a strength for some, and it can be a weakness for others. So if this isn't resonating with you, hold on tight. We're going to talk about other ways that you can receive information and use your intuition. But this is one of the ways. You can learn to use all of the ways, but you might have one that's stronger than the other. Body talk is one of my strongest ways, and it shows up in all the ways. It shows up physical through headaches, backaches, stomach aches, you name it, getting sick, whatever it is. I have dealt with all of this my entire life, and it wasn't until recent years that I learned that, I would say the majority of the time, while yes, there is a really like physical thing about it, like, hey, you have Hashimoto's or whatever it is, There's a physical aspect to it, but there's also that aspect where it's just information that we're getting back, and it's our body talking to us. And the more we listen to our body talking to us, the better we can move through the things, address it, and then our body doesn't have to talk to us anymore. But sometimes we turn everything off, and so our body has to scream it at us. And I have had years and seasons where my body is screaming at me, asking me to pay attention, to do some healing. So if this is you, if you're always physically ill, it just seems like one ailment after another, you can know that one of your strongest intuition sensations is going to be through your body. This also shows up for me in sensations. So it shows up like, one thing is when I feel something is true and resonating with me, I feel this kind of buoyancy in my chest or a burning in my chest. And when something feels a little funky, I might feel a little sick. Like if it's not resonating, if it doesn't speak truth to me, I might just feel like just something isn't right. It's not like I'm gonna throw up kind of sick. It's just like a ugh in my stomach. Does that make sense? I mean, we should get that, right? Or if something is coming up that I obviously need to heal, but am in denial about, then I will feel like a really big heaviness in my body where I just almost don't want to lift it up. That energy is kind of zapped from me. So body talk, get in tune with your body. There are some people who will find it very, very difficult to connect with their body. And that is usually due to some kind of a trauma, whether that's sexual abuse or years and years of self-hate or extreme dieting, something that has pulled us out of our body and made us just not want to be here. And you might have to go and get help for that. You may need therapy for that. That's something really big, and it might take time to heal. For everybody else who is maybe more present in their body, a really great way of practicing being in your body is by exercising. And this doesn't have to look like going to the gym and lifting weights. It could just be going for a walk, whatever it is. But do not bring your phone. Do not put headphones in. Don't listen to anything else. Be extremely present in your body with your breath, how it's moving, how your muscles feel, what's aching, what's not working, what's hurting, or what feels good. This is a fantastic way to get into your body and reconnect with it. Another great way to cultivate this and really listen to your body is listening to your cravings. Start eating intuitively. There's a really good book that is called Intuitive Eating, and it kind of wipes away diet culture and comes back to the basics of, I'm just going to listen to my body and eat what I need to eat. And of course, once again, we could go into that. There's layers of like pre-programming or something that probably needs to be healed before you get to that point. But it's a really great resource. Another great resource while I'm thinking about this is the book, The Body Keeps the Score. And it talks about this, that our trauma and everything is stored within our body. And as we heal our body or vice versa, we heal our trauma, they kind of heal each other. And so that one's another great resource for you. Go and get a massage. Have somebody else touch your body, whether that's a spouse or you do and go get a professional massage. Just be in your body in whatever way that you can be. And that is helping you to be able to be aware, be in your body so that you can receive messages. I know that we've kind of just briefly gone over how that can show up in your body, but I want to make sure that we have enough time to cover the different ways that, like the broad ways that intuition shows up. And then hopefully we can get into more detail, later. The next one is what I'm going to call brain talk. Okay, so this sounds like this is what it sounds like. It's brain talk. It's where you have thoughts enter into your mind, where you have a knowing of something, where you can't really explain it, but you just know. And then also where you have maybe possibly visions, like a strong visual comes into your mind. And this happens to me frequently as well, where somebody will be talking, and as they're talking, I realize there's this visualization of what's happening or what they're talking about that's giving me a really good picture of what it is that they're trying to express that's in more detail than their words can tell me. And so just visuals coming to your mind. And I think that a lot of people have visuals that come to your mind, but it's when we have the awareness and when we tune into them and we pay attention to them, that's when the power comes in. So that is brain talk. And I think it's pretty all pretty straightforward, but the key to being able to tune into this information coming in is honestly trust. It is trust and discernment, discerning between your voice in your mind and then the voice of those around you or what your parents put in there. You just need to learn to recognize your voice or God's voice or the universe's voice and then trust in it and not think, not talk yourself out of it. It takes a lot of trust. So if you have trust issues, that's something that you're going to want to go into and do some healing with in order to trust yourself. And I guess that has to do with all of these forms of intuition, because if we can't trust ourselves, then we can't move forward with the information that we receive. There's also like our emotions, and this is where it's really interesting. And I think probably most of society needs to do some really big healing on this because, we've been told for years, and I think we're getting way better at this, but we have been told for years that emotions don't have a place. They need to be tamed down. They're not okay to feel. And all emotions really are is just information. It's just something telling us about ourselves, about our wounds, about our likes, our dislikes. It is simply information. And when you can take a step back and just notice, once again, use your awareness, you will be able to just see those emotions come up, receive the information that they're telling you, and be able to move through them without them controlling you. So, all kinds of emotions, the full gambit, right? Anger, frustration, sadness, grief, happiness, joy. What are the other ones? Sadness, goes on and on. All of those things, envy, all of those things tell us information about ourselves. And one thing that I want to just drop in here really quick is that a lot of times people can provoke emotions in us, and it's really hard because once you come to the realization that all of these emotions coming up within us are mostly because of our internal wounds and nothing to do with them, you're like, oh man, I have to take responsibility for that emotion now. And it's not about them. It's not about what they said. It's about me and my beliefs and what's coming up for me. And I think that actually is a really perfect segue into a couple things that can hold us back from stepping into our intuition. And those are beliefs about ourselves that we have developed through the years, or beliefs about our higher power, or what is okay and what isn't okay. And then also taking full responsibility for who we are, where we're at, and how we're going to get where we want to go. Big things that show up are like this belief that there is a God and our God is kind of a dictator and he's just playing chess with us and moving us around his board, that he gets to decide what happens next. And I choose to believe in a God that actually wants to co-create with me, and that I really have a great big say in what it is that happens in my life and what I desire and what I want. And he gets to help co-create that with me. I have a feeling that's going to be a big subject for another day that I definitely want to go into. But just watch out for that, because when we don't believe that we have a say, it gets a little, our intuition gets a little convoluted. And I actually am going to go into that in a minute, but let's put a pin in it and then come back to it. Another belief is that it's not okay to want things. That's a big one that comes up. Staying in victimhood and allowing somebody else to have power over our lives makes it really hard to tune in to our intuition and be powerful creators. Once again, a subject that I definitely want to get into. And then there's beliefs about our worth and about who's allowed, about who's allowed to. And so just be aware of all of these things, and they might show up for you, and it might be hard to start tuning in because of those things. But going back to what we said before, awareness is key. And if you can just have awareness without judgment, then you are going to be great, golden. You can figure out and solve anything that comes your way. That was a tiny bit of a side tangent. I want to go back to one more way that that intuition can show up, information can come into our lives, and that is through all the senses. So smelling, tasting, hearing, touch, sight. You can see things, you could smell things. I know some people, and this isn't personal for me, but I know some people that can like smell burning in a room because of whatever, right? So all of those 5 senses come into play when it comes to intuition. And I think I'd have to have like an expert or somebody who really has experienced those things firsthand, like smelling, to come in and enlighten us more about those things. But I know that they are possible. Practice is going to make perfect, is what we hear. Practice is going to make better in this case. Intuition is something that you were born with, that you have access to. I know I've said that a lot, but I think a lot of people don't realize that this is already within you, and you just get to uncover it, dust it off, and practice it. And so I wanted to give you some really concrete ways that you can practice this. We talked about how it shows up, how you can feel it, receive information. How do I practice doing this? So it's very individual for everybody. And what works for one person might not work for somebody else. Or you might have just a natural gift towards one specific thing, and you need to work harder at cultivating a different way. Spend time in nature. Nature is just so refreshing. And when we can separate ourselves from all the noise, we will actually be able to hear ourselves and hear the messages. It was very interesting to me talking to my good friend Ashley, who did the AT trail through hike. So she spent months hiking the AT trail. She was talking to me about how the longer she spent out there, kind of 2 things happened that she really noticed. The first one was that when she started, it felt awful to be alone with your thoughts. the thoughts were so loud and so penetrating. And the more time she spent out there, the more peace she felt and the less scared she was to spend that time with herself. And then the kind of funny one was she's telling me about that her sense of smell came back and was amplified because she wasn't constantly bombarded with all of these fragrances, whether they're natural fragrances or like they're in our soaps, they're in our laundry detergent, they're in our car fresheners, they're in everything. And so our brain, our nose gets overloaded with fragrances and we have a harder time picking out what is what. And the more time she spent not being bombarded by fragrances, she was able to pick out specific smells, like being able to pick out if somebody was hiking a mile away from her. She would know if somebody was approaching her by the smell. And so I think that is very true when it comes to all forms of intuition. Separating yourself from all the noise and constant bombardment of information and just remembering who you are, feeling yourself, feeling the nature around you is going to help cultivate a stronger sense of intuition. So time in nature, a social media detox. This kind of goes along with spending time in nature, but geez, you guys, this is so powerful. I've done this multiple times. I took about 4 months off of social media this time last year. And I can't even begin to explain, you guys. We almost forget who we are. We forget how good it feels not to always be told one way or another or always be comparing ourselves. If you really want to tune in with your brain, your body, your emotions, take a break from social media. Start with a day. Go to a month. Maybe decide you want to get rid of it altogether. I don't know. But just try some time away from social media. This is so powerful. Our next one is journaling. Journaling is great. It has so many different uses. There are many different kinds of journaling that you can do. And oh man, like I'm a little bit passionate about journaling because I process so much through journaling and expressing myself outwardly. And so all kinds of journaling is going to be so helpful. Maybe just writing down your thoughts, that brings awareness. Writing down the pains and fears, that helps purge things from your system so that you can then be more sensitive to the information coming in. Because when we have all of those fears, negative beliefs, so on, it's really hard to receive more information and to be able to discern it. There's a really great one called scribbling, where sometimes it's hard to just like write down words and put words to what it is that you're feeling, but you know you need to get it out of you. Just sit down and just start scribbling and scribble until you don't feel the need to scribble anymore. And you can think about all those things that you really want to release, but you don't have to put it into words. Just let it go on the paper. And then there's also writing letters to yourself, whether that's your younger self, your inner child, your future self. That's really powerful. And then prayer journaling, writing to your higher power and letting your higher power write back. And that one's probably a few steps down your pathway of intuition because you have to really learn how to trust the words and the images and everything, the feelings that are coming to you. But it's really, really good. I love that one. Do something with your body is what I have written down. And I can't remember exactly what I meant by that, but I think it's just movement. Movement is so good. Just reignite, reunite. I've been going to some dance classes and it's so amazing to reunite with your body. We can go once again into detail with that. I feel like I keep saying that like, hey, this is great information, but we'll go into it later because really there is a lot of depth to all of this. And I want to share that story, but I can't share it right now. Move your body. I don't know if you've ever done this, but feeling into somebody before you even meet them. So thinking about somebody, or maybe you have met them, but that's a little harder. But what I call tuning into somebody who's maybe not right there with you, and notice all of those things, mind, body, emotions, what shows up as you think about and tune into that person, and feel the difference between you and them. And I know it seems crazy to do this without them being there, because we often think that we have to be present with something in order to feel it, but that's just not true. So practice doing that. It's pretty cool. Breath work. I actually don't have a lot of practice with breath work, but I know from other people's experiences that it can be revitalizing and just as powerful as intense meditation. And so breath work, bringing you into your body and bringing up those things, clearing stuff once again so that you can receive more. Art is so good. Expression of yourself through art. Doing vision boards and like even bucket lists, affirmations, all of those things require you to tune into yourself and practice using that intuition. What do I want? What do I need? What do I see for myself? What do I want to express through this piece of paper, whatever it is? All of those are great. And then meditation and just being present. Do this every single day. Find meditations, guided meditations, if that's what you need. And then eventually go into just meditations on your own, led by yourself. Those are really powerful. So those are some really good ways that you can practice using your intuition. Now, I want to finish this up with one more thought about the power of intuition mixed with intention. So intuition is basically an awareness and a receiving of information. But when we pair it with intention, that's when the real magic happens. Intuition is powerful. You put it with intention. Holy cow, it's off the charts. Why? Because when I have an intention, the message that I receive suddenly becomes very clear. So when I set the intention, let's just pick a random one. I'm walking in to this yoga class and I really want to release some trauma within my body. Then during the yoga class, I feel sensations in my body. I feel physical sensations in my body. I have thoughts that come into my mind. I have emotions that I allow to come up. And I can know, because I set the intention, that all of those pieces of information have to do with that intention. Intention mixed with intuition is where the magic happens. It's where manifestation happens. So I think that we really can't do intuition justice without intention. But I think that's all that I have to say today about intuition and intention. Intention is a whole nother subject on its own, one that I think probably needs to have its own podcast. Once again, I'm so sorry. I'm going to stop just like dangling carrots in your face. But that is just the basics of intuition. And we can get into the magic of intention and intuition next time on the Soul Script podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. I would absolutely love to hear about how intuition shows up for you personally and the experiences that you have had. You can leave a review, leave your comments on this podcast, and I will take a look at them, and we can be part of a community that basically becomes a resource for one another on learning more about these subjects. So I want to say I love you guys. It sounds a little weird, but I do love you. I'm sending out so much love to you, and I'm excited for the next time that we get to join together on the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me on this transformative journey today. If you found this episode inspiring and thought-provoking, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share with someone in your life who's ready to embrace their own hero's journey. Speaking of transformation, if you're looking for personalized guidance to rewrite your life's narrative and ignite your true potential, be sure to explore our one-on-one transformation coaching services at soulscriptstudio.com. Your support makes a world of difference. Until next time, keep rewriting and reigniting your story.